Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing some summer activities to do with your little ones over this summer break. And if you need more ideas, I actually did another video of summer ideas a little bit ago, and so I'm going to link that in the description below, and I'll try to tag it here too so that you can check that out as well. So for today, here are some new activity ideas.
First up, one of our absolute favorites this summer, one that we do over and over again, is water limbo. I use the hose and basically just create a limbo line for them, and they go under and keep going under until, someone's body hits the water. This is a favorite. Even if I am not holding the hose, one of the other ones might get it out to hold it for the other to play. They really, really love this. Next up, I drew some shapes on the ground: square, triangle, and circle. And then Rosemary here helped me fill them in with magnetiles. Now for her, I probably could have done smaller shapes to make it a little easier, but she worked a long time and stayed pretty focused and did this with me. Whereas when I've done this with my older kids, they have done it kind of by themselves, and it's been a challenge, but has worked out pretty well. I pretty much freehand the shapes and then just fill them in as best as we can with the magnetiles. But if you really want them to be perfect, then you could make the magnetile shape, trace it with the chalk, and then tear them apart and let your kids refill it. It's up to you and your preference and your level of perfection. And just as a side note, we have a Magnetile car, but even if you don't, you could use any race car, train, whatever, to make a little racetrack out of chalk and do that outside too. For this next activity, we're going to do some jumbo nature art. So I have just a piece of cardboard here, and I took this packing tape and then I wrapped it backwards all around it so that it's sticky. And then while I was doing that, while I was prepping the activity, I gave my daughter a collapsible bucket. We just really love these buckets. I'll link them. And she went around and collected nature objects: grasses, leaves, flowers, etc. And then when she got back, she just placed them on this cardboard sticky and made a little piece of art. For a really fun summer bin, you are going to grab some whipped topping, some sprinkles, these jimmies work perfectly, some sugar cones or play cones, as you'll see I swap mine out for, an ice cream scoop, spoon, etc. And then this is going to become a fun ice cream themed sensory bin. So you could also use whipped cream instead of Cool Whip. You could use shaving cream if you don't want this to be edible. I chose Cool Whip specifically because it's cold and will provide that cold feeling on a hot day. I also chose to do fake ice cream cones because with more than one child, I thought they might fight over a real cone, so I just did these so that each could have one. I'll link these cones in the description too. We've had fun with these at the pool this summer. And then just for extra fun, I crumpled one of the cones and put that in the sensory bin as well. My kids really liked this, and they enjoyed having like a little treat in the cold weather. Cool Whip is not something I ever buy at my house. I just don't ever like to have it, so it was definitely a treat for them. Next up, I want to encourage you to get a little creative with your chalk. We did this obstacle course first to press the buttons and then climb the ladder, do a traditional hopscotch, and by the way, they did this over and over again. Even the baby liked to try it. They then made this up. They helped with this, and they escaped the bowling balls and sharp grasses to jump over the stick and go through this maze that they built. Then they could walk only on the yellow, avoiding the monster. They could not touch the monster's arm. And then they had to go and spin in this swirl and then run down the hill to the next obstacle, which was to dump some water onto the picture. So I encourage you to get creative and include them on some of the decision making and what wants to be included, because their imagination can really run wild. Up next, I wanted to show you these reusable water balloons. We play with these probably daily. My kids love them. And really all you need is them and water. I also have sponges and other little cups that I put in there too, but all you really need is the water balloons and a bucket of water.
Put some water in there.
Uh-huh.
And
Fill it up and then...
flour it!
Oh, I missed it.
Mama.
Yeah, one sec.
Sorry.
Next up, we're going to do some water and chalk. So I have a few different drawings, a fire with some firewood, my daughter's name, and I put a bucket of water with some paintbrushes there. I have a building on fire and then just a kind of crazy drawing with the building on fire. I have a bucket at the bottom of the ladder with a sponge, and then with the crazy one, I have a spray bottle. So these are all just different ways that you can play with the chalk and use your children's fine motor. So this one, she climbs the ladder, well, that's the goal, and then uses the sponge to try to put the fire out. If you've seen my channel, you have probably seen this one. This is a absolute favorite of my kids. They ask for this all the time. So another way you can do this is just with paintbrushes and water, and they can try to erase or trace or just put water on their name. This could be shapes, letters, whatever you want it to be. I just did name today. And really, you don't even have to have chalk there. You can just use water and a paintbrush to paint water drawings on your sidewalk too. And then the last way is to use a spray bottle of water. This can take a while. So if you have a younger child, you may want to do a smaller drawing that they can just spray the same spot over and over until it disappears. If they're older, they might have the patience to do something bigger like this. You judge. And while we're on the topic of chalk, another simple thing you can do is just build a start line and then also a finish line. And then you can have them race cars, people, their siblings. If it's just them, sometimes we just like to do one at a time and do timed races where they try to beat their own time. You can crawl, you can do whatever iteration of this you want. You can use scooters, bikes, etc. And last but not least, I'm sure you have heard of painting rocks, but you can also paint just anything you find in nature. So we usually start this activity by getting our collapsible buckets, going on a little nature walk, collecting things, and then we come back and paint what we find.
All right, thank you for watching. That's it for today. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. This is what my channel is all about. Kids activities, daily stuff in the life of a now pregnant mom of 3, almost 4. So hope you join around here, and I will see you next time. Bye.